Well, we'll continue tracking reaction on that story. But for more on that, let's cross to our parliamentary correspondent, Bulelani Phillip, who is on the steps of Parliament there. Good evening to you, Bulelani. Of course, news is moving quite fast. We now have a new president. Let's take a look at, what unfolded today. I mean, we can reflect certainly on what has taken place. We've got a new president, but what is the sense that we're getting from where you are? Does this spark a new dawn for South Africa? Is that what you're gauging?
Well, good evening to you, Griselda, and to the viewers. Certainly, this has been described by some political parties as a new chapter to the South African history, and many of them are saying this is a fresh start for South Africa, and it's up to President Cyril Ramaphosa to be able to drive the country towards the right direction. I think the general consensus amongst political parties is that they welcome him as the new leader of the country. But then again, they are saying that they are not going to let him off the hook. They are going to continue to play an opposition role against the ruling party to ensure that, the issues or the lapses that they see in the ruling party are addressed.
While there is a welcoming of Cyril Ramaphosa as the new president, certainly we also saw scenes in Parliament where you had the economic freedom fighters walk out saying that this is not going to be a walk in the park, as you indicated. You saw the Democratic Alliance as well saying that it does not have a Jacob Zuma problem, it has an ANC problem. So is there a likelihood that the scenes that we have seen in Parliament over the past couple of years will continue, given the fact that that the economic freedom fighters, for example, are saying they want the dissolution of Parliament and they want a fresh start to everything?
Well, Griselda, I think we can look at the threats that have been made by the opposition that even though the president or former president Jacob Zuma has been removed from office, there is still a stigma that hangs over the members of parliament that continue to serve in the National Assembly. Again, the issue of President Cyril Ramaphosa was also another sticking point earlier on this evening, because as part of the National Assembly and as a member of the National Assembly, he is also by extension implicated in the two constitutional court rulings that have found that Parliament failed to execute its responsibilities, and therefore we're going to see a much more concerted effort from the political parties in the opposition benches that are going to say that we want a motion to dissolve the Parliament because of this issue that the Parliament has been found wanting on two occasions by the Constitutional Court. But then again, on the other hand, the ANC has said that now that the president is out of the way, this is an opportunity for all members of Parliament to unite behind the new president to ensure that they all play a united role in terms of driving the country. But of course, if the opposition party does bring this motion to dissolve Parliament, the ANC has made it very clear that it's going to fight that particular motion and defeat it. Of course, they are in the majority, and when it comes to vote, anything that they do will win.
Is it still one of the sticking points that, of course, you'd know that the now former president Jacob Zuma had survived quite a number of motions of no confidence, and the fact that it was the very ANC that had supported Jacob Zuma in ensuring that he survived those motions of no confidence? And is there any word at this stage? One of the things I'm very curious about, Bulelani, is that any indication if you have one of the ministers or those who are still in office perhaps also bending with the sword and perhaps resigning?
Well, look, Griselda, I think one of the other issues that we need to bear in mind is that in as much as President Cyril Ramaphosa is seen as a fresh new start to the presidency, I think one of the issues that is going to actually bog him down or haunt him during his tenure as the president is that he's going to have to answer a lot of questions with regards to his alleged role in the massacre in Marikana. And I think from pay back the money, we're now going to move to you kill people in Marikana. So that's one of the narratives that is going to have to deal with during this tenure of office. When it comes to his State of the Nation address tomorrow, some opposition parties have actually made it clear that he has got the task of ensuring that he actually talks and walks the walk, in that if he's talking about corruption, there's a lot of ministers who are serving in the current cabinet who've been implicated in the state capture investigations, and therefore if he does want to be that person who is the champion against corruption, he needs to actually send a strong message by reshuffling his cabinet and actually getting rid of those ministers who are facing either corruption or state capture allegations against them.
Well, just to add to that, certainly South Africans are looking forward to that State of the Nation address, and his in-tray is quite full. But let's talk about tomorrow, Bulelani. I'm sure the stage is already being set now for the State of the Nation address tomorrow. Just take us through what you have seen.
Well, Griselda, often enough, the day before State of the Nation address, you'll always find the preparations, the final dry run of all the events that are going to take place. But, you know, strangely enough, or unfortunately today, we don't see that. I guess it's as a result of the postponement of the State of the Nation last week. But from the sources or the organizers that we've spoken to, we've been told that it's going to be business as usual. It's going to be the same procession. It's going to be the same pomp and ceremony that we've seen over the years. And of course, as I've been walking around the precinct of Parliament, you're beginning to see some, you know, the guard of honor taking shape. The stage where the president and the presiding officers are going to stand is also taking shape. So I suppose in the course of tomorrow, we're going to see, you know, the Parliament precinct actually turning into that normal view we normally see when it's the State of the Nation address.
Well, thank you very much to our parliamentary correspondent, Bulelani Phillip. He will be live on those steps definitely tomorrow as the State of the Nation address, of course, is delivered by the new president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa.